I was able to get 5th place with this deck. It's gonna be Dark World Dangers. So we're gonna be using 3 Genta and 3 RB. So whenever you open these two, it's already a combo starter. So whenever you see a Genta and an RB, you can already pop off. The best Dark World so far, 3 Snow, 2 Grapha, 1 Ceruli, and 1 Sillva. I've seen that Sillva is banned on Master Duel, but to be honest, you can still do a lot of stuff. Just take out these two, put in gold, and you can be able to put a full board of negates, even though if you cannot hand loop. So it's fine either way. These are gonna be all the Dark World monsters. Then we're gonna go to the Danger Engine. I choose to run at least from 8 to 10 dangers. I find it the best consistency in this way. But in this build I ran a total of 9, which is gonna be 2 Mothman, 2 Chupacabra, 2 Nessies, and 1 of Jackalope, Sushinoko, and Bigfoot. The reason I don't run 3 of these or 3 of Nessies is because whenever you run a Danger Engine, I believe you need to have a maximum of 2, and it's best to have 1 of each. Because if you're gonna draw the whole deck in one turn, and you draw like 3 Mothman or 3 Nessies, you might discard one of them to get the second effect, and then you won't be using the second effect anymore, which is not that good. Even if sometimes when I side out 1 Chupacabra or put in a second Bigfoot just to have the second effect be able to be viable, because Chupacabra is the worst opening. Nessie is the best. Mothman is like you don't want to give him a draw, but sometimes you have to use the dangers just to start things going. And at the same time, these two are level 4, which make a lot of things like Bagushka, Dugares, and so on. So hence the reason for 2, even though it's a brick at the start, it's still viable for some combo pieces. For the non-engine, I ran a total of 3 Lava Golem. I go on second card. I also have trade-in, so you can simply trade it out. You can use it for the field spell. It's not that much of a brick, and you don't normal summon throughout the game, so it's kind of fun and fine for you to use. 1 Zephyrus. This thing can bounce back your field and make you use the field the 4th time, or it can bounce back a danger and help you use another danger again. Also, it's a level 4. It helps you to make Dugares, Cowboy in case you're in the damage step where you need to do any kind of damage. Of course, you'll get the 400 damage, but the Cowboy will do even more. But if you don't want to risk it, you can side it out as well. One of the options to side out. And 1 Catalyzer, simply because it lets me choose what I want to discard and get the effect of also level 4. Also helps me make Bagushka, Dugares, and so on. In case I get drolled, there's only one option, you can Bagushka. And the level 4 monsters help you with that. Going on to the spells, I'm gonna start with 3 Allures and 3 Gates of the Dark World. Some people run 2, I think 3 is the best thing that you can do, because you can recycle them. You will use all of them in the same turn, and like I said before, if you have Zephyrus, you can use it 4 times. I used 2 trade-ins. As I said, there's like 3 Lava Golems, 3 RB, and 2 Graphas. You can bounce back the RB with the Grapha and use the trade-in, so it's always viable for me. 1 Archives, because it can brick, and sometimes you don't have a Dark World on the field to activate it and to use it, so it's not that good of a card. You can side it out. Of course, Secession, some people run 2 of them, but let's be real, 1 is more than enough. And the OP card Destruction. Basically, if you open this, you need to just activate it and you win. Especially going second if they have a draw and you just go card Destruction. They don't have a draw anymore, and if they do, you already started to pop off and do some things like put any kind of defense on your side. Even Omni Negate would be fine. And the 1 Upstart and 1 Dark World Dealings, cards that usually people don't run. But I run these because this one makes the deck at 39 cards, and this one simply is a searchable discard with snow that I can also pick who I want to discard, because whenever you're starting to do the hand loop or you start to make a Palooza, Zombie Stein, like any kind of Omni Negate board, you want to be able to pick what you want to discard, and sometimes this is viable. I know it's not good to help your opponent to fix the hand, but sometimes it saves you and it helps you, especially since the dangers don't let you pick who you want to discard. Now for the extra deck, I'm using 2 fusions of Grapha, 1 Akashic Magician because he bounces Ceruli back. You can also bounce your own card. If it's a danger, you can bounce it back and use it again. But it also has a second effect, which not a lot of people know. If this card is co-linked, then you can be able, like for example, it's co-linked like this. Then it can excavate the top cards, and if you pick the right card, like you say Allure of Darkness, and you excavate the cards and there's an Allure of Darkness, you can add it to your hand. So it can also help you to keep pushing and extending. And since Sapalooza would be a link 4, it would be 4 excavations. So Cross Sheep, the reason I run Cross Sheep is because whenever you have him on the field and you summon a Grapha, you can bring back a monster from the grave, which is usually Snow, because if you get back Snow, with Snow you can search like Ceruli, Dark World Dealings, and so on. So this is the only reason we run it, to be able to do that. We also have the Nightmare package, 1 Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. Whenever you're locked into Fiends with Muckracker, these are the options that you can go for. And at the same time, when you have a lot of advantage, you will find situations where you have a lot of RBs in your hand, because you can simply keep recycling them in a way that you have this and you have this engrave. Each time you bounce a Dark World, like with Sillva or the gold variant as I showed you before, you just bounce this, bring back this, bounce this, bring back this, use one of the Nightmares, discard this, get a draw if it's co-linked, once again summon this, get this, use this, keep on climbing with this to this, and so on. You just keep on doing the same thing and just recycling the RB as a free discard for your Nightmares. It's kind of broken, I would say. Then we have a Palooza, which is one of the ways we want to finish our turn, by having a Palooza Omni Negate, by having a Zombie Stein, also a good Omni Negate. And there's a thing, if your opponent has Dark Ruler no more, and you have the fusion spell, and you add it and you set it, and they do Dark Ruler no more, you can activate this as Chain Link 2, and then go Zombie Stein Chain Link 3, and negate their Dark Ruler no more. So it's a good card to outcome. So usually you have these 3 on the field by the end of your combo to Omni Negate, plus a bunch of cards in hand, and sometimes even more. So this is a really good way to play around Dark Ruler no more and have a full field of negates. In case Akashic is not enough to bounce, you have Security Dragon, you have Cereja as an extender. If you don't have all the things you need and you need to go deeper, you can do that. Same with the Garis, go deeper. If you need more cards, you can go Coach King, draw even more cards, since this card can draw you 3 cards. And in case you get drawled, Bagushka. Basically, if they have no imperm, they cannot play. Onto the side deck. The side deck was quite interesting because, first of all, I want to have a card that goes when the time's out, because with this deck, sometimes it takes you like 10 to 20 minutes to do your first turn. So most of the times you're gonna go into turns, and as you've seen, I have plenty of monsters which are level 4 just to make this, and Bagushka and Dugaris and so on. So this can win you a lot of games. Just sign it in after game 1 or 2, depending on the situation. 1 off, because we know that everybody's gonna use draw. So why not have it? Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. At least it's better than some of the options in the main deck, as I mentioned. Like sometimes going second is a bit different and you want to side out a few cards, and you will put in this. Same as going first, you can take out the Lava Golem, put in something like this, and many others that fit. Such as, let's say, another Bigfoot and a Sillva. If you go first, you can add another Sillva. Let's say they have Bestials, so another Sillva is good. Let's say you go second, you want a Bigfoot, because first of all, if it's a Kashtira deck, it gets discarded, it still uses its effect to pop. So with trade in, you just trade it in, you get 2 draws, and it destroys the Arise Heart. Simple as that. So go in first, go in second options, 2 cards. Another OP card you can use is Skill Drain. There are many decks that just cannot play against Skill Drain. So if you go first, you can simply put in Skill Drain. But in my experience, I noticed that 2 is more than enough, because I've been trying the 3 combo, and sometimes I draw all 3 in the same turn, and it's like, why do I need that many? So I would keep it at 2, but at that point when I played, it was 3. OP card should be at least limited. Going second, Skill Drain version is a Dark Ruler no more. So if you go first, you do this. If you go second, you do this. Against Sprite, it's OP. Against, well, any kind of deck that has a huge board, it's OP. But Dark Worlds can be able to break the board regardless. It's just an extra option you can have, depending on the matchup. Of course, the one and only Droll and Lockbird. There's still a lot of decks that can be hurt by it, like Dark Worlds, for example. Also, it's just too good to not have. I find it better over any hand trap at this point, because it specifically counters a few decks. So at the same time, I had like back row removal, Twin Twisters. The reason it's 2 and the reason it's not Cyclone is because it can discard and get me a danger effect. So that's the only reason. But in the future, I think I would use rather like Magic Cyclone instead of the Twisters. Just something I noticed. And the one-off Eradicator, I tried 1 because, well, if you start with 3 Skill Drain and you add a Virus, at least 2 or 3, that would be bricky, because with Dark Worlds it's hard to side out some things, simply because, well, it's a huge issue to side deck, because you don't want to touch the engine. So most of the time it's one-off cards. That's why I'm considering to take out 1 Skill Drain. A few things I would consider to change in the side deck is an Eradicator, Harpy, Feather Dusters, maybe a total of 3 Radiants, because if you play against a good Kashtira deck, they will Arise Pass and Lava Golem is just useless. Maybe some Nibiru's. I will give you an update once I have it. If you're coming to see how Dark World can do based on Master Duel ban lists, and if the ban of Sillva is doing this deck any kind of damage, I can tell you it's not. It's just gonna stop the hand loop, but regardlessly, this deck can simply end on a huge board of Appaloosa, Zombie-Stein, Grapha, and any other cards you choose to play with. Any kind of Omni Negates. It can be Felgrant, it can be like, it depends on you. Like, the options are quite huge for you to do something else. But at least these 3 are already 3 Omni Negates. Like I said, if you run the Master Duel variant, you will use gold for the special summons. At the same time, gold with Grapha. If you use it at the right moment, you summon gold, you pop 2 cards. It's still a huge deck to be aware of. If you want to see the whole guide of me explaining how you can play this deck on Master Duel, check it out. It's gonna be attached on the top or in the link below. Subscribe and like the video for more content on Yu-Gi-Oh! Peace out.